playing, mostly a deterrent for the two-faced suits. We know you're really now you can't even get the car and drive her out the waiting room. This isn't a thing. No real close encounters. I was probably busy running through the closest field of flowers like I ain't really trying to sit around and chop it up. Shoot a fat chit chat, Jim Wax, pop junk. Talk about the weather like we never seen it. All that yellow, I'm a fullback and I dialogue slow, shit same wavelength. Talk about the weather like we never seen it. All that yellow, I'm a fullback and flame dead.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thought I would show my gameplay and give my opinion on min-maxing Mage endgame. Start off with the rings. Ring of Determination, pretty much mandatory on every endgame min-max build at this point. You can replace it with Battle Cry ring if you don't have a Ring of Determination, but it's not a big deal. They're both basically the same thing. Willow Cap ring is the second ring that you're going to be using pretty much all the time on every single build. 15% overall speed is just too good. The only thing you might replace it with would be this rune ring. You could use this early game before you have enough damage. This would probably be better than the Willow Cap, but as soon as you have a lot of damage, you switch to the Willow Cap for the movement speed because it's too good. You can also use an agility ring if you don't have a Willow Cap ring in place of the rune ring once you have enough damage. Third ring is always going to be the lifesteal ring. It gives us part of our max health reduction to activate our 100% gems on low health, and it gives us our lifesteal. Gloves, you're going to have 10% health on kill, you're going to have fire damage, you're going to have crit chance, and I actually think armor penetration is a bait. So when I recraft these, I will be putting physical resistance on these gloves. It'll get doubled, it'll get 12% physical resistance. That's actually pretty good. And I don't think the armor penetration is worth the slot. Since we put crit chance on our gloves, we want to try to hit these twice when we exalt the item. Everywhere you put crit chance, you always want to try to hit the crit chance twice. If you get 2 crit chance rolls and you hit both of them twice with exalts, then you'll be at 100% crit chance exactly. And that's where we want to be. If you only get 3 exalts on crit chance, it's okay. It's not the end of the world, but you want to try to get that for perfect 100%. You also want to try to get drained focus or lose focus on damage dealt, or you can put your max health reduction on gloves as well for your downside. Pants. Always craft pants on a frantic base. Movement speed is king. These give you movement speed outside of combat when you don't have prerequisite, so they are the best. Always craft on blue pants because they're the only ones that you can craft movement speed on, and then your second 2 rolls will be fire damage and then either crit damage or crit chance. You want crit damage on 2 pieces, crit chance on 2 pieces. When you exalt these, you want to hit movement speed 4 times. Don't worry about the damage, you're going to have lots of that. You always want to try to hit the utility anywhere there's utility that you care about, and flat movement speed we care about because it helps us move around town, it helps us move around our house, helps us move around outside of combat, and that means we can get to combat faster and get more loot. Alright, so the hat. Hat's on a purified base. This gives you plague resistance. You're going to want to get crit chance or crit damage. Again, we want crit chance on 2 pieces, crit damage on 2 pieces. Focus cost reduction and barrier on consuming food. When you exalt this item, you're looking to hit focus cost reduction, barrier on consuming food, and obviously you want to get the 2 hits on crit chance if you decide to put crit chance on this item. If you want to prioritize being more tanky, then you might want to consider putting crit chance on a different item. I don't really think you need to be more tanky. but that's a decision that you're going to need to make. If you want to be more tanky, put crit damage on this weapon, and then try to get one that hits barrier on consuming food more times. If you don't care about being tanky and you want your casting to be more buttery and feel better, then you want to hit cost reduced. And yeah, that's about it. Chest piece, critical damage, fire damage, barrier gain. Barrier gain is the priority here for exalting. If you could, you would hit barrier gain 4 times. It's by far the best. Overall speed for 19 seconds, or for 19% for 10 seconds after inflicting shock status is pretty good. It's better when you do less damage because you shock more. Once you start one-shotting everything, then it becomes sort of you would slow down to speed up, sort of, so it becomes not worth it. If you don't mind stopping every once in a while and using the stamina rune Chain Lightning, you can use that to more consistently proc overall speed, which would be really good if there was, again, harder content for bosses. You could just use Chain Lightning on them once at the start of the fight and get 10 seconds of really fast casting. And for harder clearing, you could keep that buff up by just casting it once every 10 seconds. It's still the best mod to put on your chest piece. There's just nothing else better. Alright, so moving on to weapons. You're going to have 2 different weapons in this build. There's just no way around it. This game has too many stats that are good for clearing, and then too many other stats that are good for bossing. Especially when harder content gets added into the game, you're definitely going to want to separate your clearing and your bossing. But anyways, for stats on your clearing weapon, you want to get movement speed increase for 10 seconds after damage dealt, stamina cost reduced by 30% for 20 seconds after fatality, crit damage, and damage increased by 40% after fatality. All of these buffs are going to be active all the time, and the one you're trying to hit with Exalt, believe it or not, is going to be movement speed, because it's up all the time in combat. 26% movement speed gets doubled. That's 52% movement speed. That's the best. One of the best stats in the game is movement speed increase for 10 seconds after damage dealt. It's absolutely insane. You can just keep it up all the time. Yeah, absolutely insane. This, I just wanted to show everyone, this is an option that a lot of people are going with right now. You definitely can run this. It makes you really tanky. That's great, but keep in mind that you're giving up 50% movement speed for that tankiness. You're also giving up double damage and unlimited stamina. So, yeah. Oh yeah, as far as a faucet goes, the only faucet you're ever going to use on a staff is going to be Sharp. Sharp beats everything else. There's just nothing else that even comes close. For our single target staff, again, Sharp. Damage increased against large enemies, obviously. Crit damage, pretty obvious. Gain health on damage dealt against frozen enemies is not important at all. You could replace this with something else if you wanted to. And then movement speed, again, it's just really good. Even on bosses, having extra movement speed is great. So when you exalt this one, though, you want to hit the damage. Hitting the movement speed on here isn't important because, you know, we're not running around this much during bosses. So the 30% is fine. But yeah, that's going to be your single target weapon. All right, next we'll go over spells. For your clearing weapon, Fire Blast and Charge Bolt are the only spells here that matter. The only place that you can get Charge Bolt is going to be from the Crucible. You can either get it from the vendor in the middle of the Crucible, or you can get it from the box at the end of the Crucible, just the last box at the very end, the middle one. The best place to get it is from the vendor, and the best way to farm this is by making new realms over and over and over again. You run past the first boss, you go into the city, you talk to the old man, you recall to the market, you talk to the lady in the Crucible right there, you go down into the Crucible, and at that point your realm is set up to run Crucibles. You can do it once per day, and the vendor in there generally has a bunch of runes at the bottom of the vendor. These runes can be any rune in the game, much like from the box at the end of the game, as far as I know anyways. I've gotten Charge Bolt from that vendor once, and I've gotten Charge Bolt from the box once. It is extremely rare. Good luck. It's the best skill in the game. It clears the entire screen. There's nothing else even close to it. And it should be, because it's also extremely rare. As far as your spells on your single targets goes, you know, Fire Blast again, it's going to be on every single weapon. Fire Blast is the best single target skill for Mage. There's a Thunder version of this, there's a Plague version of this, I think, and they just don't feel as good. You can try to use them, let me know what you think in the comments, but I think Fire Blast feels better. Armageddon, that's just our big single target for dealing with bosses. After we do our freeze combo, we Armageddon them. It does a big chunk of damage. This is just, in my opinion, the best single target skill. That's why I went with fire. Homing Frost, the best ability to freeze a boss in the game. And Rot Wheel is just a nice debuff that you can cast on the boss while he's frozen to sort of butter him up while you're casting your Armageddon. And I just like the trinity of those three spells and how they feel together on bosses. If we had more tanky bosses, this combo would be incredible, because the amount of damage you'd be able to get off before the boss even gets out of the freeze combo is going to be insane. So yeah, that's it for spells. The other downside of using a staff like this is that it's very difficult to get enough damage so that Charge Bolt will actually one-shot every single enemy in the game when you're using something like this, because you don't have all of the damage that's provided by a staff like this. So, yeah. Real quick on the stats here, the health and int aren't set in stone, but you want to make sure that you have enough health that you can cast your spells effectively. So if you want to play around with these, give yourself more health, that's fine, but I probably wouldn't go below this amount of health. You always want to balance your weight so that you hit fast loadout. Fast loadout doesn't just give you a faster dodge, it also makes you run faster. And everywhere where there's an availability to run faster, we want to get it, especially when it's out of combat. So this is another out of combat run faster, and it's very, very important to make sure that you're hitting this. Another quick tip, if you're struggling or if you just want to be tankier in general, just so you know, you can stack all 3 bed buffs. So if you're struggling early game, you really want to use your papers that you're collecting on unlocking these beds, because once you get all 3 beds, as you can see, I just got a health buff from the first bed, and I'm going to get another health buff. Now I'm at 328 health, and I'm going to get another health buff, and I got a stamina buff from the second one as well, and I'm going to get another stamina buff and a focus buff. This puts me up to 367 overall HP. You can also use a health buff on your utility bar. This brings you up to 420 HP. So this is more health than most builds have. You can use this while you're leveling, if you have these in your house. I'm not sure if it's supposed to work like this, but it does. So if you want to cheese the game to be incredibly tanky, just get some beds, and you can be tanky and really fast by using beds in this staff instead of using no beds in this staff, or, you know, whatever. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer everything. If you learned something, you know, leave a like or a sub. I'd appreciate it, and have a good one. GG's.